I think Algorand, relatively speaking, for as massive as it is, I think it's actually very underrated. And I think it's a very special layer one blockchain. And its native token called Algo going to the price of $5 during this run. I still believe in that idea, even though nothing I say is financial advice. The way you take a look at it is that when it comes to Algorand, it just represents what the new age of layer one blockchains should be. Because, of course, we all get it. Ethereum, very popular, very fantastic. I'm totally aware of that. Good ecosystem, good fan base, but really, it just feels a little bit outdated, especially when compared to some of Algorand as of right now. And let me explain why. Because if we take a look at Ethereum again, sky-high gas fees, arguably not even scalable. Now, granted, there are Ethereum layer 2s out there that kind of fix this type of stuff, but the way you take a look at it is that as a standalone layer 1 blockchain, if we compare it to something like Algorand, let's say, for instance, I just believe Algorand is a lot more dynamic. It doesn't have to rely on these layer 2s. Very scalable, very decentralized. This is just the whole package for me. Not to mention, gas fees are not a problem when it comes to Algorand, so I do really like this. Not to mention, other people seem to like it too because allegedly it is the technology of choice for over 2,000 global organizations. At least it's been stated. So when you take a look at something like Algorand, this is really a no-brainer for me. And I feel like sometimes it's often overlooked when it comes to Algorand is the fact that it has aspects of ISO 20022. Now, why is this amazing? It's because if we take a look at other projects that have this, we take a look at something like Stellar, we take a look at something like Ripple. Now, why is this fantastic? It's because when you take a look at it, ISO 20022, that is currently being used by many financial institutions from all around the world for something called inter-organizational data exchange. Now, let's just let this sink in. Why is this amazing? It's because, again, it's actually being used, I would argue, already in the world of finance, right? Not to mention, it's already up and running. It's not something that's conceptual, in a testing phase. No, it's already up and running. It's already being used. And again, when I take a look at a project like that, it really does showcase to me that, hey, this could be very fantastic here because if you take a look at the payments market, it's currently valued at over $2 trillion. Now, let's just let this sink in. If we take a look at the GDP of Brazil, a very amazing country, back in 2024, the GDP was around $2 trillion. So could you imagine just how massive the payments market is as of right now? Not to mention the global trade and finance market, which is predicted to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028, according to Mordor Intelligence. So when I take a look at some of Algorand, sometimes people view this as, hey, it's not a project that's really focused on the payments market or the global trade and finance market. While naturally at first glance, people may not think that way, I think due to the aspects of ISO 20022, it really does, I think, kind of focus on that in a sense, or at least is capable of, because again, many projects out there that say they're focused on the payments market, say they're focused on the global trade and finance market, they aren't even compatible, when it comes to ISO 20022. So you got to imagine that. This is how special Algorand is. It's kind of like the complete package, in my opinion. Not to mention, Algorand is very environmentally friendly, at least in my opinion, because it is allegedly fully carbon neutral. This matters because not only do a lot of enterprises nowadays, a lot of, just these large entities, they do, again, care about the environment and they have this initiative to go green. And I think what better way to kind of showcase that in some cases, other than adopting new technology, like for instance, let's say in the case of Algorand, that is environmentally friendly, that is, something very revolutionary and allegedly fully carbon neutral. I think this is really going to play to the advantage of something like Algorand. This is how amazing it is. Algorand, again, very underrated, but I think it's very fantastic. Now, Algo, again, Algorand's native token at the price of $5, why is that not too insane? Because if it were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $43 billion. That's around a 25x from here, by the way. And when I take a look at that, how is that crazy? I mean, come on. Well, you've seen Shiba Inu reach around $40 billion in market cap back in 2021. That year, we also saw Dogecoin reach over $80 billion in terms of market cap. I mean, come on. Algorand, this is how amazing it is. And not to mention, when I take a look at back in the peak of the 2021 bull run, there was roughly around 300 million crypto owners. Now there's over 600 million. According to Crypto.com research, more than ever before in history, allegedly. So when I take a look at something like that, is Algorand gonna have a difficult time, at least its native token, reaching the price of $5? I don't really think so because I think this time around the bull run could be a lot better. Take a look at the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF, the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption. I feel like this bull run this time around could just be a lot different. And imagine if, let's say, Bitcoin goes to the price of $100,000 again, and let's say it goes to 150,000, 200,000, maybe even beyond 250,000. And who knows, maybe even more than that. Could you imagine what happens to something like Algo? Even $5 may seem a little bit bearish at that point. Now, only time will tell again, but I'm staying patient. And the amazing thing about Algo is the fact that historically, it's been showcased to do well when the bull run really is in fifth gear. And also, it's been showcased that, hey, if the market does pick up, it's been known to gain some attention. So I do really like that. Just take a look at the price chart when it comes to Algo. The track record does speak for itself. Now, this is not an indicator that it's going to do well moving forward, but still, I think if it anything showcases that, hey, it at least has been known to gain some of that attention once the bull run really is starting to do good, or should I say, once the space is doing good. So it's a no-brainer for me. Proven track record, good community, good exchange listings, not to mention amazing fundamentals. It's just a waiting game for me. Usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event, historically speaking. The last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year, so 18 months from then would actually mean around October this year. Now, it's not a guaranteed date or anything like that. Each cycle is going to have different factors. The economy is going to be different on a case-by-case basis. I'm totally aware of that. But the way to take a look at it is that, hey, you know what? I could very well view this as still having ways to go when it comes to this bull run. And I think that better days are ahead. And I'm not going to give up. And Algo at the price of $5 during this bull run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm on peace. Bye.